market decided they like private listings.
I don't know how you can say that. I mean, there's such a small minority of them right now that whatever, and I think it hasn't been decided, that fully.
Because Compass listings didn't do this.
No, they did. I mean,
they did.
Look at Dill Pretty's latest post.
Yeah, and then it dipped down again. It could be who the fuck knows what's going on with that, right? But it's not like this tremendous.
Well, okay. So if you want to put it that way, I'm gonna only look at this data, but I don't know about that data. Well, then
are you going to change your mind if the data says otherwise in 2 months? Like when will you accept that consumers want
hold on.
listings?
Well, then we don't. Then that data doesn't mean anything, so we don't reference that.
It does mean something.
This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the notorious Rob, and as always, my very good-looking co-host, the fabulous Greg Robertson. Everybody,
hair emergency there. Hola, Rob. How are you, man?
I hope the hair emergency was caught on video.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what? You know how it's like you're mirrored and you don't know what the hell you're brushing your hair. I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to lose my hair, so I don't concern myself with any of that. So, I think the last time we talked, we said, hey, we want to get back to talk about real estate topics.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, here we are.
The gods have delivered
us. We are recording on Monday, September 22nd. Monday, September 22nd. And, let's talk about real estate stuff.
The real estate news gods have delivered us a juicy one.
Yeah, we almost thought about doing a live stream.
Yeah.
But it was like so last minute. What would be the point? Like,
yeah.
You, me, and like one other random person, I guess. But so what? In case anyone's living under a rock, what is the news that the real estate news gods have delivered to our lap?
Yeah, so Compass has bought Anywhere in an all stock merger transaction, right?
That's right.
It was value approximately 1.46 to 1.6 billion, which we'll get into.
Yep.
Roughly 10 billion, including debt, right? So
no, nowhere near.
Enterprise value. It says here
4.2 billion. What they're saying is it'll be 10 billion combined.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Correct.
In fact, why don't I throw this up while you're speaking?
Debt assumption, Compass will assume $2.6 billion of Anywhere's debt. I got something to say about that.
Yep.
And they say they're going to operate them separately in a press release, right?
Yep.
The different brands or whatever. Compass is still involved with a lot of litigation. There's a lot of people like Corcoran and everybody else. They're kind of like really rivals with, right? That they bought, right? Yeah. So God knows what's going to now. We're Compass, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, just crazy news. I mean, and what was the other stuff? I mean, the other one thing I read here is that together Compass and Anywhere account for about 1/3 of U.S. real estate transaction volume, while representing about 1 in 6 realtors, right? So that's there's still a long tail there.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't seen that, but yeah.
Yeah, so just crazy. I mean,
crazy.
Out of nowhere, right? I mean, I guess we all know about consolidation. This is a theme of the podcast is kind of consolidation, but this kind of consolidation is wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And who's the guy? Is it Ryan Schneider who's in charge?
He was. Yes.
Who was? Yeah.
Yeah. He's the CEO of.
So, so. Ryan Schneider, this is my first take a little bit, is like, how long have they had this fucking debt all the way back to CUC or freaking when they were called something else, right?
Yeah,
I mean, It started at like $9 billion down to whatever, but Ryan Schneider goes down in history as finally getting rid of the debt off, I guess by merging whatever, but it's, he finally found a way of putting that somewhere else.
Well, yeah, I mean, based by selling the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get your initial take.
Okay, so I thought about this a little bit. A lot. I had my first take was Well, a little bit. I'll go a little bit more on another take that was combined with my first take on this. But basically, it's, to me, I guess it's a merger of both. We all thought, or Compass tried to kind of like pass themselves off as a technology company, right? They wanted those kind of valuations. That never happened. They started buying all these other kind of brokerages. So they just started showing, that they were more likely a traditional broker than anything.
Right.
Right. So this kind of, to me, seals the deal on that, where they are that, right? But it also feels like, to me, Brian Barrero had a post, which I think we can also kind of weave in there, about talking about how, the internet didn't kill agents. It doubled the size of them, right? It made it easier for agents to become or people to become realtors. And he had this kind of really great take of like a bold prediction of like AI is going to do the same, because it's going to make it simpler and there's going to be processes and whatever. And this doesn't have to be a full-time gig. That can be something on the side. So he's predicting 2 million agents by 2030, right? And then there's also, he had a little bit of a kind of a throwaway comment in a way where he talked about, second, the explosion of recruiting residual broker models in the past decade ensures that there will now always be lots of people who jump into the biz because they want to build a downline, not sell real estate. Because the big agent growth are going on with these kind of cloud companies like EXP or Real that have this kind of downline kind of profit sharing revenue, whatever they call it, kind of thing right there. So to me, it's like, so all that being said, this feels like a little bit like somebody's buying, ABC or CBS or, these legacy television brands, but really everybody's watching YouTube and going forward, everybody's going to watch YouTube. Okay. Right. So it's like this aggregation of the old school stuff. Right. And I'm not sure that's, if that's a good thing here, right? Because to me, everybody's going more towards YouTube. Why are you buying television stations in a way, right? So I look at it a little bit like that. Does that make any sense to you, or like, what I'm trying to say?
I guess. So in that analogy, is Compass the YouTube or the television brand?
No, Compass is just aggregating old school properties. Better Homes and Gardens, so Century 21. Okay, YouTube would be more the cloud brokers, the way, not even those guys, but like, we don't know what, the future of real estate is, right? I mean, there's different things that people talking about it, but I don't think it means.
No, I know what the future of real estate is. But
yeah, okay, of course you do.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
All
right. I mean, I guess, in a sense, this has the same vibe of like AOL buying Time Warner back in the day. Remember when that deal happened and when everyone flipped out because here's like this internet,
There's a
ISP,
little bit of that, sure. Yeah,
right?
There's a little bit of that, sure.
There's a little bit of that vibe. I mean, I was also thinking this would be like Tesla buying Ford, like this American institution, right?
Sure,
upstart
sure.
kind of thing. But yeah,
I mean, it goes back to like when they bought Elan Pinnell and some other kind of like brands that were, but they were going more in the luxury, and this just feels like, okay, it's not a luxury play. It's a whole, it's a whole kit and caboodle. It's a kitchen sink.
It's an industry play. No,
yeah.
And I was thinking like, I've always thought Compass, probably wants to make a big acquisition, right, somewhere. Thought it might be like Real, because they're also like a tech forward.
Well, yeah, brokerage. That's what you would think. Like these cloud brokerages, right, are the ones that are getting the most of the agent growth, right, lately, especially like an EXP, right?
Right. But nah, they went for the big daddy. They went for the granddaddy. They went for the king, man, and they got it done. It's shocking. Anyway,
well, do you think it'll get done? I mean, isn't there going to be some sort of FCC kind of shit going on, right?
I don't see any reason why this gets stopped.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be one of the reasons is because they would control, what was the thing that I cited?
1 out of 6.
1 out of 6 realtors and account for 1/3 of all real estate transaction volume. I mean that doesn't raise any cackles anywhere, or not in this administration.
Not in any administration. When is 1/3 a monopoly?
Okay.
Right.
All right.
I mean, if it's over 50%, I think we start asking questions.
Okay.
But I mean, 1/3. You know?
Okay.
And I don't even think it's a third. I think it's so. I did a little math, and I found that it was. Hold on, let me see if I pull this up. And we're gonna get into the math a little bit because I have some real implication thoughts. It's like
it's real estate. The thing I'm reading was it was something that Sal Klein put up. Together, Compass and Anywhere account for about 1/3 of all U.S. real estate transaction volume.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's money, right?
Yeah. So the number though is 20. Using last year's numbers from Real Trends, I'm saying the new combined Compass has 414.9 billion in sales volume. Okay, and they would do 475,000 transaction sides. But even in our depressed, shit housing market, there's probably going to be 4 million homes sold.
Yeah.
So 8 million sides.
Right.
Right. 10% would be 800,000. They're not at 10%.
Well, I think that's talking about dollar amount, right? Not the actual transactions.
Even a dollar amount, 414 billion. I don't know if that's a third. I mean,
Compass, from what I understand right now, is that the number one in transaction volume. EXP is in transactions as far as number of transactions, right?
That's right.
So if they're already number one in transaction volume, money wise,
right?
Adding Anywhere to that, I can see is
I know what I'm saying is. Compass was 231 billion sales volume. Anywhere was 183 billion. Now, what that number does not take into account are all the franchises. So Saul might be right. Once you take all the franchises into account, right? Those are just Anywhere's in-house brokerage and Compass, right?
Right.
So once you take all the franchises into account, then maybe we're north of, I don't know, whatever. Double that number, maybe, right?
Right.
Maybe 800,000, 800 billion, who knows? Maybe it's a trillion. It's got to be a big number. It's a big number, right? But it's still not 51%.
Right. Okay.
I don't. Now, in some markets, right? So like Chicago, San Francisco, I could see the FTC coming and be like, this is a problem. You now have 78% market share in Chicago or something, right?
San Francisco, maybe.
San Francisco. I'm sure there are certain markets where it's going to be an issue. And I'm sure they'll just be like, fine, we'll sell off, we'll divest, right? We'll divest Coldwell Banker in Chicago or something, But, like moves can be made, but nationwide, I don't see it.
Okay.
I just don't see it. All right. I mean, I think my first reaction, of course, I think like everybody was, holy shit, right? Really? Like, wow, they pulled that off. My second reaction was, it was because I saw the number 1.6 billion. I'm like, that seems really cheap, And then I learned that no, they're also going to assume all of the debt.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
So now we're up to 4 billion. That still feels cheap.
God.
Anywhere is the most important company in real estate.
Really?
I think so. Who's more important?
I mean,
maybe Zillow, maybe.
Well, I mean, but it seems like, it used to be, I think Keller Williams was like the number one agent count that was like on the rise. They've faltered, but now EXP.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody. Keller Williams is the number one brand. And what Anywhere Realogy in the back in the day would always talk about, but if we take all of our brands, we're like twice the size of Keller Williams. Right, like between Coldwell Banker, Century 21, BHG, Corcoran, Sotheby's, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, Keller Williams is the number one brand by agent count. But
I'm not sure if I would qualify it as cheap in this, I don't say economy, but in this situation, right, where there is still a little bit, what's going to happen here, right? I mean, we're going to have another depressed number of transactions this year as far as real estate.
Sure.
There's no real clear solution out there to increase affordability, right? There's no other. I mean, real estate it's kind of, up in the air as far as what's the future of this, right?
Right.
They have ERA, Century 21. Are these like brands that have a big long future?
I don't know.
I don't, I mean, they seem like, ERA was started because they We're the first to get fax machines. I mean, some of this stuff is long in the tooth here. So what is the real value of that, right?
Literally, Century 21 needs to change its name.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
right.
we're actually in Century 21, guys. You need to change your name to like Century 22, Century 23. Right. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, they still have tens of thousands of brokerages, franchisees. They still have tens of thousands of agents. Like, it's still a major, major brand, right? So, I don't know. I mean, so let's go back to that question. If it's not anywhere, then who's the most important company in real estate?
Well, again, it depends on what you're using as a measuring stick. If it was, who is selling the most real estate as far as dollars wise, it would be Compass. If it was the number of transactions, it would be EXP.
It would be anywhere.
No.
Yes.
EXP has the
a brokerage, but not once you include the franchisees.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I'd have to check that out. I'm not sure about that. And then if you looked at like culturally for real estate, it would probably be Zillow, right? It depends on what lens you're probably looking it through, right?
Right. Possibly. So basically, in my opinion, there was only one possible other contender, and that was Zillow. Right.
Under what lens are you looking at through?
So in terms of across the board importance to the industry. Right. I think it was between Zillow and Anywhere. And for me, now maybe I'm biased because I came out of the old Sendent Realogy, but and I wrote this very recently, and I know we're going to get into this topic. I wrote this very recently, talking about how the private listing debate is just over. Right. I think we actually might have recorded an episode on it. But it's over because Anywhere made one very minor, like tiny little change, right, in their first look program, where they said, hey, going forward, it's going to be shared across all the brands, like the entire Anywhere brand, instead of just being within like each brand, right? So like Coldwell Banker listings could now be viewed by Century 21 agents, right? It was one tiny, tiny change. And I felt like, okay, private listing debate's over because Anywhere has acted, and Anywhere's action said that they are more pro-private listing than anti. Right. And I said then, and I say now, that the industry tends to just, like wherever Anywhere goes is where the industry goes. And it's primarily because Anywhere, even back when it was Sended, was always very conservative. Like, these were not guys who just took giant risks, right? They were the guys who would, like, watch, let somebody else take a risk, let somebody else do things, and then they would sort of say, okay, that seems to work, let's follow that, right? So, to me, real estate, the bellwether, the flag bearer for, like, residential brokerage has always been Anywhere or Realogy back in the day, in my day. So the fact that Compass bought Anywhere, I can't think of anything that's like even equivalent from an industry standpoint, right? Like a major company.
Vendor of Zillow buying Trulia, I think maybe. That was a big hubbub back in the time.
But Trulia didn't have like they never had like a flag bearer position. I'm going to stop sharing this. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it really didn't have the staying power, maybe. Like, you think about Coldwell Banker's history goes back 100 years. Like, Coldwell Banker predates NAR. That's how old that brand is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, it was the whole history of Coldwell Banker was founded after the San Francisco earthquake fire thing in like 1906. So, I mean, we're talking about like these brands and these companies that have been part fabric of the real estate industry for its entirety, right? And has been a leader for all of its like history, right? So, I mean, what would be the equivalent?
But I mean, where has the growth been lately, right? The growth has been it's been with Compass, it's been with EXP, it's been with Real. I mean, that's where, so it's like, to me, maybe they did have that, but maybe they were that. But I mean, it seems like that's been devalued, over the past few years.
I really don't think so. maybe devalued a little bit because Anywhere has been struggling for a while. Partially because they're so conservative, right? Like they're so always conservative. They're always kind of like, let's kind of wait and see. Let's sort of play both sides. That they've always been that. Even during the like CCP debate, remember it was Anywhere's position? We support CCP, but we think we should reform it. Right? Mm-hmm. That's classic Anywhere behavior, right? Just kind of middle of the road, just kind of play it safe, right? Nothing too crazy. Nothing like out there, like a Robert Reffkin, right?
Well, you just said something and just like that just didn't feel right either. It's like classic Anywhere behavior. I mean, Anywhere's been a brand for just a minute here, right? I mean, it used to be, like you said, it used to be Send It. It was CUC, it was HU, whatever. Then it was Realogy. Now it's, the brands that they manage, yes, right? But I mean, if I think of like them as a company, it's like they've changed their name like 4 times since I've been in the business.
But it's just been name changed. The same company.
Right.
Send It is Realogy. Realogy is Anywhere. It's the same company, and they've been. All I'm saying is that they've been like the leader of the brokerage industry, right? So like during the whole CCP debate, right? We had Compass, obviously, Robert Reffkin, out there, like out there, right? Out on one side. And then you have companies like Howard Hanna. Now, Howard Hanna is the number 4 brokerage in the country. They're a big time major player. Like they are not insignificant. They're a very important company.
Yeah.
Okay. But Hobie Hanna goes out, Howard Hanna makes these strong statements, and the rest of the industry really didn't move because they're not Anywhere. Right? Rest of the industry moves when Anywhere moves.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. CoreLogic is now Cotality. Same trusted technology and data, just with a new name that reflects their mission to unify property professionals, strengthen industry relationships, and drive innovation globally. Cotality powers tools you already know and love, like Matrix, the gold standard for MLS systems. There's One Home for agents who want to give their clients a more personalized collaboration experience. MLS Touch keeps you connected to the MLS no matter where you are. Realist gives you the insights to stand out as the local expert and tools to fill your funnel with high-value leads. The new One Homeowner platform keeps you top of mind and delivers value long after the deal is done. Learn more at Cotality.com. Our thanks to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations. So do you think that by acquiring Anywhere that conservative culture is going to now imbue, Compass?
No, I think it's
okay. So that pedestal you're putting on is now gone forever.
It's not that it's gone, but everyone else could be watching Anywhere. It's like, well, if those guys saw something, then we need to do the same.
Right. Well, I mean, what they saw was like getting out of debt.
So let's get into this. Look, fact of the matter is, after this, I'm now like, okay, private listings. If you didn't believe me when I wrote that post in September 9th, do you believe me now that the private listing debate is over?
Do I believe? No. I mean, I still think there's a chance that, the market turns and like everybody's like, well, I'm not doing a private listing. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. I got to get this down the market as soon as I can because it's taking longer to sell.
Okay, I mean, you're still talking consumer behavior. I'm talking about shit like ZLAS. I'm talking about CCP. I'm talking about MLS rules. That's all gone, right?
No.
No? You think they still maintain that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still debating what the hell that is, right? Every MLS is different. I mean, it's going to be debated and executed in all different sorts of ways out there.
So when Anywhere puts in a listing and then doesn't put in the MLS within 24 hours, you see MLS is fining Anywhere.
If their rules are that way, yeah, they have to.
Okay. I don't. I think it's over, man. Like, it's one thing to fuck with Compass. It's a whole other thing to be fucking with Anywhere. I'm sorry. It's over.
I didn't know that they had, some special forces unit that like doesn't allow them to be fucked with.
I just look at like most composition of most MLS boards. Look at the composition of most of the membership. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean if you're talking about first of all, there's been articles about some infighting within the Compass ranks of like agents that don't want to do exclusive networks, right? So there might, and remember, there's probably going to be some debate there as well with bringing some of those anywhere agents even over, right? So if you're talking about if they can get their own people on a board that they want to influence the board to change their MLS rules, well, that's a different subject than what I think you're implying, where it's like the board structure will stay the same, the rules will be in place, and they're not going to freaking fine anybody for not following the rules.
I'm just saying, like, all these rules, all these whatever, it's history. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Like, there's, in fact, I'd like to see this happen. I would actually like to see the MLS that says, you know what, screw that, we're gonna find Compass and Anywhere. So Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's, they're all violating our rules, so we're gonna find them. I would like to see that. I don't see it happening. No way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell, right?
I guess time will tell, but I think it's over. And here's what's really the next shoe to drop, though. Is like, remember, Anywhere's position forever has been something along these lines. And Ryan Schneider's on record saying this multiple times. We don't like private listings. But if we are forced into it, then we have everything lined up. Like, we're ready to pull the trigger anytime, right? And when we do, we are going to biggest beneficiaries. Because we have the most listings, we have the biggest network. They have over 210,000 people. And now with Compass, now we're talking 250,000 people in those brands, right? Under the Compass umbrella, it's now 250,000 agents. And what was the number? A third of all transactions. Dude, I believe the reason why the Anywhere board said yes to Compass acquisition offer was they heard Ryan say that a bunch of times. And they're like, so we would be the biggest beneficiaries if we went private listings, huh? Why don't we do that? You know what? Let's do a deal. Compass will pay us, and then they're going to do private listings across the entire network, and now that entity is going to be the biggest beneficiary of it. So yeah, I mean, I suppose the only way that doesn't happen is, to your point, if the agents abandon them in droves.
I'm sure there'll be some of that. I'm not in droves, right? But I'm sure there's going to be some. Right. But the way real estate works is if you get the right teams to bail out and go somewhere else, that can impact. Right. It hurts. Yeah.
And the issue is going to be, how do you get the teams to bail out when they're now part of a 250,000 around the country that has this private exclusive network that's only accessible to agents who belong to that network? How are you going to recruit one of them away?
Yeah, I mean, the tough part is, I guess, the other way that this goes is that, the market decides that they don't like the way the private listings, right? They want it the way it is now.
Right. Clearly,
and that forces
otherwise.
Huh?
The market decided they like private listings.
I don't know how you can say that. I mean, there's such a small minority of them right now that whatever, and I think it hasn't been decided, that fully.
Because Compass listings didn't do this.
No, they did. I mean,
they didn't.
Look at Dill Pretty's latest post.
Yeah, and then it dipped down again. It could be, who the fuck knows what's going on with that, right? But it's not like this dramatic.
Well, okay. So if you want to put it that way, I'm going to only look at this data, but I don't know about that data. Well, then
are you going to change your mind if the data says otherwise in 2 months? Like, when will you accept that consumers want
hold on. Well, then we don't. Then that data doesn't mean anything. So we don't reference that.
It does mean something. My point is, it didn't have this dramatic drop, which is what everyone expected. Right? It didn't. So, like, these little fluctuations don't matter. I'm saying the dramatic drop. We didn't see 60% loss in market share. We didn't see that.
Well, it was dramatic in the numbers that he said. I think it was fairly dramatic as far as you look at what those things are. But who knows how to look at that shit nowadays?
It's like Compass went from 40,000 agents to 20,000 agents. Right? Like, so I'm saying, like, the lack of that dramatic impact suggests to me that actually consumers do want this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big leap to me, but go ahead.
So we'll find out, and I think now that
I just can't believe consumers love that they would have to visit more places to look at the total listing inventory. That doesn't, I mean, Doesn't make sense to me.
No, I don't think it's about.
I mean,
buyers.
I don't want Europe, right? I mean,
Okay.
I mean, you're like, let's make it like commercial real estate. Let's make it like Europe.
I'm not saying
I don't know,
let's. Hold on, time the fuck out. I'm not saying let's make anything. I'm just saying that's where we're headed. There's a big difference between what I want and what I see happening.
What do you want?
I would like probably a single national MLS that's privately owned that creates this market, with maximum flexibility and freedom for everybody. But I'm not going to get what I want. Right? What I want is
a national MLS. Yeah.
Yeah. What I want is no unethical steering, and what I want is like NAR to fucking do its job and start enforcing its professional standards. I'm not going to get what I want. I'm just describing what the reality is.
What it's looking like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you just have this like thing where you want to torture the reality to fit what you want the outcome to be, like.
Well, that's it's weird you say that because that's exactly how I think you look at it. So
but
we both think we both think each other is doing the same thing, and neither of us want to admit that it's not what we're doing.
I mean,
right?
but I have some reason for believing what I do, and okay. So let's just go through it. The reason why I think consumers want private listings is because private listings were invented during the downturn. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Right? Private listings came into existence like 2013, 2014, when it was an incredibly hot buyer's market. Sellers were like, holy shit, my house is sitting on the market for a year. That's when private listings really began. So the exact same dynamic that you're talking about, sellers are like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I can't sell my house. And buyers like, I'm in the catbird seat. That's exactly when private listings began and really grew in popularity. So why would it be different this time around? Meanwhile, you're just going with whatever narrative. Well, people want maximum exposure. Do they? Like, what's the...
Well, there was, I think 1000 Watt did a study or somebody where it's like they asked that question, hey, would you like a way, we're basically describing a private listing strategy, and they're like 80 or whatever percent, that sounds cool. And then they asked the follow-up question, okay, but if you do this, realize A, B, C, D, and E. It's not going to go this, that, whatever. And they all fucking, no, well, hell, I don't want that, right?
Yeah,
so to me, Compass has done a great job of like selling this narrative, this kind of...
but so is NAR.
I called it, but it was like
so is NAR
like a
Zillow
Jedi mind trick on the seller, like sell your house like a celebrity. Oh, I guess
if you look, if you ask enough leading questions, you'll get the answers that you're looking for, I suppose. It's like these MLS. Like we done this study said, hey, if you were to go private, then you're going to lose 60% of your equity value. Well, okay, I don't want that. Like, So I'm saying, fine. You know what? Let the narratives be what the narratives are. Let's just look at the results. What I'm maintaining, though, is there's a reason why everyone is fighting so hard against private listings. Right? There's a reason why. And it has nothing to do with we care so much about consumers.
I think two things could be true at the same time. I think there could be financial and economic reasons, and also people that believe that they want access for as many people as possible. I don't think it has to be an either or.
Which do you think is more important?
Yeah, unfortunately today it's like it's somewhere in between. It's like a lot of times everybody just jumps to the narrative that tells the best story, right?
Okay,
that is like the total truth, right? So it's tough.
Except that I remember when Zillow pioneered coming soon, when it was good for them.
Yeah, no, everybody fucking flops, right? For sure.
Of course, and I'm not condemning. Like
one day you're for free speech, and then the other you're not. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and most of the time your side is into killing people who disagree with you. So there's that. See, I told you we're going to talk about real estate, but you had to go there. You had to go there. So I'm just saying, like, to me, we could talk like all the moralistic bullshit. To me, is just cover. At least within the industry, this is a business. It's an industry. That's not a charity. Ain't nobody doing shit for the good of the consumer.
We say stop fronting. I understand
right.
that. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, okay, there's a reason why people are fighting private listings so damn hard, right? And we have seen people tell the truth about what that is, right? Namely, once this becomes the norm, NAR, the MLSs, they all start to lose value. Okay, and when those lose value, the small brokerages cannot compete. James Wiggins was explicit about this, right? If private listings become the norm, then Next Home can't compete because you don't have access to the inventory. That's terrible for Zillow today. That's terrible for NAR. That's terrible for MLSs. That's why everyone's been fighting it so hard. Okay, it was one thing when that was Compass. Now that thing is Compass, and like I said, the flag bearer, the standard, the fucking anywhere. It's Coldwell Banker. That's a different game. That changes everything. Okay. The immediate response I expect to see, and we'll see this in the next few weeks, is what I believe. I could be wrong. We'll find out. Is I think you'll see, maybe not loudly, maybe there are not going to be announcements, but I believe every brokerage will go, okay, we're launching our private listings. Because we now have to. Okay.
It's I think of this from a marketing standpoint, all right? So Refkin's kind of thing was before was like this this billboard. Go to compass.com and see listings 2 weeks before they get on Zillow, right? And, that's like, oh, so what? And, I guess, does Coldwell Banker become Compass? Right? How would what would the billboard look like now based upon what you kind of said there?
See listings, you can't see anywhere else. Come coldwellbanker.com.
Not compass.com.
Well, because it'll be the same in the back end. You go to Compass, you go to coldwellbanker.com, you log in, you do whatever your thing is, and here's listings from Coldwell Banker, here's listings from our sister companies like Compass and Century 21 and Sotheby's and whatever.
So, but you don't, so is it would they have this billboard say Better Homes and Gardens somewhere else? And
yeah, of course. All the brands have their own billboards.
Right. So, yeah, that doesn't, that's not as sexy as like, that, I think that original messaging, right? Which was like, this is just, it becomes less exclusive just by the fact it's spread out more, right?
But it's exclusive, so you can't, like if you're a buyer, you want to work with one of those agents.
So you think that the billboards will all just be see
houses you can't see anywhere else.
But it'll be rotating who the brand they kind of put out there.
Of course, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But what that does is now everybody else has to play the same game.
Which makes it even it doesn't become exclusive. It just becomes we all now have our own listings.
That's
come
right.
visit our sites.
That's right.
Which is going to be, I think, just a horrible experience for if you're a consumer. But
possibly.
Who cares?
Well, yeah. But that's what's going to happen, right? And then once you cross that threshold, which we're going to cross very soon, then the next big shoe drops. And this is the next biggest implication of this. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I think if you're a brokerage, we'll just leave the brokerage for now, not brands, because we don't have numbers for brands. If you're a brokerage and you are not in the 200,000 transactions a year club, then you don't matter. Then you need to become part of a 200,000 transactions a year club, one way or the other. Either you have to go acquire other brokerages to do that, recruit enough agents to become that, or you have to get acquired into a brokerage like that. I believe that. And that goes hand in hand with private listings. Because without the whole private listing, it didn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like you could, whatever, you have 10,000, like that's a substantial brokerage if you have 10,000 transactions a year, right? You're probably a big local regional. But if you're not plugged into a bigger network, like, how do you, like, you can't compete. So we are going to see massive consolidation like we haven't seen before, like we have never seen, quite frankly. And the reason why we've never seen it is you don't need that wave of consolidation as long as the MLS exists. Right? Going forward, the MLS might still exist, but it's not going to be where you go to find everything for sale. It can't be.
Well, right now, Compass is saying, their strategy fails 94% of the time, right?
That's right.
So, there's still going to be a market once these things never sell because they've got a limited amount of people looking at them.
Right.
Then there's still an MLS that it's going to kind of go to, right?
Yeah. Where all the stale listings are.
Well, you could call them stale, or you could call them underexposed listings go to, right? And then they get exposed, and then it goes. The other thing I think of, like,
you want to be that agent. Hold on, and you want to be the agent that goes to a customer and says, "Hey, I'm going to show you all the underexposed listings."
Well,
everyone else can, by the way. Well, you want to see listings when they're fresh, when they're newly listed. You need to go talk to Compass. I don't. No,
I mean, I think.
What agent's going to say yes to that?
Well, no, it's like, I mean, it just depends on how you spin it. Well, there's a brokerage out there that tried to get a higher price for this. Nobody bought on it.
Right.
So now they have a legitimate price, and now we're ready to sell.
Right. Oh, so what you're telling me is if I work with one of them, I could maybe get that house before, so for less.
No, because they're trying to get more money for it. So I mean, they're trying to gouge you through that.
Okay, so I could work with them, and they could help me buy that house if I don't buy it during private, right? What can you do, Greg? Can you show me any houses that aren't really on the market?
Yeah, absolutely, I can.
How? What network do you belong to?
I'm a small network. I've got my own exclusive listings, whatever the shit is, right?
Your 3 listings.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it's almost like.
I'm saying it's such a competitive disadvantage. Do you at least
hold on? To me, it's really going into not exclusive listings, but more into a private listing thing. Now, let me explain that, right?
Okay.
So now, if you have a majority of the listings going that you can only see if you only go through this portal, which I don't think you're right. I don't think they're going to rotate brands. They've got to pick, like, go here to see the shit, right? So, but whatever, that's a marketing thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's if you want to see their private listings. Now, if I'm one of these boutique real estate companies in San Francisco and Los Angeles and in fucking, these high-end places.
Yeah.
No, actually, I have the exclusive listings. Right? Because what they're going to do is they're going to go back to kind of Compass's real estate strategy. It's like, well, these are bespoke higher end listings that not everybody has, whatever. That's just like that's a strategy over here. These are really exclusive. That's if I was going to kind of compete against that, it's like, yeah, they hide listings. Here I have some exclusive sellers.
Right.
I mean, that's how I would kind of spin it from a marketing standpoint, of like just a little judo move on them. I'm not sure if the buyers would ever kind of understand that nuance, but maybe.
Do you in fact have these super high end luxury listings?
Yeah, because
okay,
I mean,
then, sure. Then you are who you are, right? Yeah. But now you're just trying to sell a $1 million house in San Francisco, which is probably a shack.
I don't know if it's exclusive, right? I mean, maybe they start. Maybe those boutique ones who don't want to be part of anywhere.
Right.
I'm a Compass agent. I'm not a fucking anywhere agent. I mean, I don't want to be associated with those fucking dullards. Right. I'm gonna go up back on my own, join this other thing, and we're really gonna do exclusive listings because
that's fine.
I don't want to be associated with that, right?
But now we're talking about ultra high end luxury,
which has been where Compass kind of started, right?
It kind of started, but Anywhere is not that company.
Right.
Anywhere
exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly.
And I'm saying they're gonna do the exact same fucking thing.
They're going to go after ultra high exclusive listings?
No, they're going to be like, hey, Mr. Average Homeowner, we're going to put you through this amazing program. We're going to do private for a little bit, test your aspirational pricing, and then we're going to do a coming soon for a little bit, and then we'll go open market.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And the thing is, from a marketing standpoint, you go, and by the way, if you're a buyer, I have access to all these off-market listings. Okay? Go ask your other agent whether they do. And so they have it. Okay, but who cares about them and their four agents in their office? Right? Come here, we have, I'm just throwing numbers out. We have 200,000 exclusives. Homes that you cannot see anywhere else. You should work with me. That is such a major competitive advantage. I don't think it's deniable.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, again, it's like it goes back to a little bit of first principles, I guess. It's so if you said to somebody, okay, if an agent told you they have a private network of buyers,
right,
and it's 1,000, it's 500, it's whatever
it is, right,
and they came back and said, I got you a list price, I got your price, sign here. Would you sign?
I don't know.
There's always a little bit of seed of doubt, I think, in that seller's thing. Like, that was pretty fast. That was pretty. Hold on, right? I mean, if I expose it, if I go to more, maybe I'll get better. I think, again, if their motivations is I don't want people trampling through my house, but that's a very small percentage. But people are just looking for as much money as they can get. I think that's why it's 94% of the time this strategy fails. I mean, because they don't trust that cloistered, that cold list of buyers is the one that really, could get them the best price.
Maybe, all I'm saying is, look, historically, that's when private listings grew. Okay, historically speaking, right? And historically,
when did they grow? When did they grow?
Probably around the 2012 to 2014 timeframe.
Yeah,
right. In the depths of the bubble, collapse. So there's that historical fact. And like I said, in 2017, Zillow's out there saying, hey, we're going to have coming soon here because it's wonderful. You get to have early access and see off-market inventory because it worked for them back then, right? This is before they became a brokerage. This is before they did any of that. So times change, events happen. I'm saying events happen, times change. All I'm pointing out is like the idea that being part of a large network, right, of having some sort of advantage over other agents, that is such a major advantage, period. Meaning, what I'm predicting is every other brokerage has to do the same now. Because if they don't, I don't know how they recruit and retain.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Compass's stock is down 15%.
Of course, because they just took on $4 billion in debt from zero. They went from no debt to $4 billion. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they had no debt, but yeah.
No, they were no debt. They were net cash. They announced it, right? It's in the materials they produced.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, okay. So, I think we talked about this before, but when we're developing a new feature or adding a new feature in software, it's like, okay, so what is a test? What do we want the outcome to be, so that when we launch this, we can look at this number, we can look at this fact, we can look at this whatever factoid and say, oh, this was successful, or oh, this was not.
Right.
In the way that you're thinking about things, let's just say a year from now, or the end of the year, January 1st, 2026.
Right.
What do you think will be proof that what you said has come true?
So we're talking about by January?
Sure, or pick a date.
I think when every major brokerage has launched a private listing program.
So EXP will launch?
Yes.
Okay. I think don't they already have one?
They already have one. They don't talk about it very much. They say, well, it's for that very limited, privacy concern, super blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be like everybody.
Right. So, and Keller Williams, of course, will have one.
So the thing I don't know is how far the brands will go. Right. Because all these companies with a private listings thing, it's still kind of compliant with NARCCP. Right.
So you're talking about every national brokerage will have this.
Every brokerage will have this, national and regional. Right?
Okay.
Of any size. Right. And I'm thinking because they have it, even the smallest boutiques will have it. It's just that it doesn't hit the same, right? When you're Billy Joe Jim Bob's, bait and tackle and real estate brokerage. And like, hey, work with me. I'm going to show you my exclusives. Like, you have one exclusive, you have one listing. What exclusive do you have? It doesn't hit the same versus going to somebody who's like, I'm with Compass. Work with me. I've got this, 200,000 exclusive listings.
Well, it depends. It depends because if those exclusive listings that person has are, a stable of 10 million plus listings. I mean,
sure. Again, fine.
Yeah.
You're like the random weirdo, like celebrity realtor, and okay, I suppose that probably happens today. You know what I mean? That probably I'm sure there's somebody out there who represents all the NFL players or whatever, and none of their shit ever hits the MLS because they're like, hey man, I know who. I'm sure that shit happens. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean,
they're brokerages. Those aren't companies. Those
but
aren't
I can see like a lot of these high-end agents who are, I'm not going to be part of anywhere. I mean, I'm going to go to these other kind of luxury boutique brokerages and do it that way, because they just don't want, that's not part of their, they won't even be known like
right
at the they're walking the compass floor. I mean, there's an elitism, I think, that Robert has done over there at Compass with these agents, whatever. Right now it's like, we're Realogy, woo. Right. I don't know if that's going to really resonate with his core people there.
Come on. First of all, nobody anywhere goes, we're a Realogy, woo. They go, we're Sotheby's, woo. We're Coldwell Banker, woo. We're Century 21, woo. That's not going to change.
Okay.
It's just that when you go to Sotheby's.com, in fact, here's how it works. You come to my agent website that Sotheby's makes me, gives me. There's going to be a little button or a banner or something that says, see private first look, or whatever the brand name is. I click on that. I get notified you clicked on it, and boom, here's a list. Here's everything from Sotheby's. Here's everything from Corcoran. Here's everything from Coldwell Banker. Here's everything from Compass. On my website, like an IDX, right? So my branding, my smiling face is right there. Contact me right there, and here's all the exclusives. That's how it's going to work. And if you're competing against that as a brokerage, right, you got to be able to offer something like that to recruit an agent.
Yeah.
Especially productive one. How else do you recruit them? Right? So I'm suggesting the real kicker is going to be not even the small mom and pops, actually. Small mom and pops, whatever. It will always have small mom and pops. I'm talking about HomeSmart. I'm talking about United Real Estate. I'm talking about, I don't know, Realty One Group, right? What do you do if you're those guys? You're not a nobody. You're a big company.
Next Home.
Or Next Home. But I just still want to keep it to brokerages because I have their data. And obviously brokers have all the rights, whereas it's not clear what kind of rights franchises do. So I think that's a future episode that we need to be doing, right? But here, we'll just look at this list together. If you're United Real Estate, if you're Dan Duffy, you do $20 billion. That's a lot of fucking money. You know what I mean? $20 billion that's a sizable operation. You're number 8 in the country. You do 46,000 transaction sides. That's a lot of transactions, right? And that means maybe it's 20,000 listings. I'm saying that's big. I all respect. However, when the new reality is Compass has 10 times your number, 10 times, and you're United Real Estate, can you afford to stay at these numbers? What I'm saying is I don't think you can. You got to get big.
Can you in that? Sure, they might have 10 times or whatever, but still 96% of them are going to go on the MLS, and you're going to get an accent. You're going to,
eventually.
2 weeks, whatever. You're going to get access to those anyway.
Eventually.
Like everybody else, right? You can call them stale listings, but it's for everybody.
But you're not going to get it first.
Okay, so it's a timing thing, right?
Of course it's a timing thing.
Okay, but I mean, they still could make a killing properly marketing it through their traditional ways and selling more real estate on the MLS than the. Let me put it this way: do you think that there'll be brokerages that'll be more successful selling things on the MLS, not having that kind of strategy, than brokerages that have an exclusive listing strategy?
No,
I think so.
I don't know how they hold on to any agents.
Well, because they prove to them, listen, they have exclusive listings, but as far as the way things operate, 96% of them go on the MLS, and we're the best at selling real estate, and we do a better job of that.
First of all, there's no brokerage we are better at anything. It's agents who do all the work.
Well, you know what I mean.
Right, number one. So my point is you have to go to an agent who's productive, who's really good, and say, hey, come join my brokerage, right? We don't do any privates. We're MLS only. We're everything in the
96% of them come in the MLS anyway.
Right,
It's not a big deal.
come there anyway.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Except that, like I said, the first buyer that calls the agent and goes, so I want to look at some houses that maybe aren't on the market. And they're like, oh, we don't do that. I can't help you. Okay, thanks very much. I'm going to call Compass. The first seller that says, hey, so Compass had, they're just like, we're going to test the market. We can do some aspirational stuff. Oh, we don't do that. We're MLS, we're open market. Let's just go out there and I'm going to do the greatest bang up job for you. You lose one listing, that agent is gone.
I don't know. I mean, if they can prove if they can prove that they're better at selling listings off the MLS than what those brokerages that are not selling, that are, primarily focusing on the exclusive stuff, then I don't think, I think some brokerages can make the case for that.
Fine, we'll find out. I just don't see how you compete against that.
So that's the thing. So what's the bellwether? What's the test that says things have, because I started going down a list, but then there's some, well, not these guys, not that guys. I mean, what do you think it is? What is
the bellwether's anywhere?
We don't know what's gonna happen here, right? I mean, you're saying that this is going to affect the rest of the industry, right?
Yes.
How do we test that?
Because they're all going to do the same thing.
They're all going to do. So EXP is going to do. They're going to heighten
private listings.
Keller Williams.
Keller Williams is a brand, but so Keller Williams Realty Gold Network will, in Arlington, Texas, right?
Okay.
Keller Williams Realty Pinnacle Partners in Duluth, Georgia will, because they're a brokerage. And I'm sure that Keller Williams at the brand level are strategizing and figuring out, okay, how do we launch a franchise-wide private network? Okay. Maybe they'll copy what
Isn't it a better test on the MLS side, right, where MLSs then have to, all the big MLS, I mean, we famously say the top 23 MLSs comprise 1 million realtors. If those 23 MLSs acquiesce and allow,
they will absolutely acquiesce.
Okay, so that's a better bellwether, I think, than
okay, that's another one. All going to acquiesce.
Okay, so
because like you said, they represent 1 million realtors.
Yeah. Okay.
Compass controls 1 out of 4.
Well, it says 1 out of 6 here from when they.
Well, 210, whatever you said, 1 million. Between Anywhere and Compass, we're at 250,000 agents, domestic, U.S.
Right.
So if the top 23 MLS control 1 million realtors, 250,000 of them are Compass or Anywhere.
Okay, so there's a test there. So it's the top 20, top 23 MLSs allow exclusive listings.
Right.
Okay, so that's the bet, right?
Or they
by
may,
when?
They may, hold on.
By
they
when?
may not allow it, but they're just not going to enforce it.
They're going to allow it. They just not.
They're not going to change the rules, right? They're just going to be like, we're just not enforcing it. So you could have the clear cooperation policy, whatever the fuck rule on the books, won't matter because the MLS was never going to reinforce it.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's the implication of this, man. Like, Zillow is... I don't... knowing the people at Zillow, right, and having all the respect in the world for them as a company, as an organization, as whatever, I don't think they just sit back and just, watch. I think they do something. So maybe we'll try and wrap up with this because we're going on, and I'm sure this is not the last show we're going to do about this. What do you think Zillow does? How do you think they respond to this?
Well, already Zillow's thing is very nuanced in a way, right? It's not like they're forbidding listings from homes from with these brokers or whatever. They're basically saying if it goes on the MLS, all we want them to do is put it on the MLS, and then we'll adhere by the MLS policy, right? So I think there's a lot of kind of backdoors and workarounds that maybe, as you say, that they have to come up with, or it's either they're not enforcing it or they're looking a blind eye because the way you interpret the rule is this way, right? So I think they're probably right now very loosey-goosey on the enforcement of it, right? Because it's so And then the other thing is that because NAR has made this a thing like, Godspeed, where everybody can implement it in a different way, that not being centralized as a thing is also allowing people to kind of get through the cracks also, right? So if the MLSs don't kind of patch that shit up, then you're just going to be, as you say, it's going to be de facto. Yeah, you can do it, even though it says something on there. They're not going to interpret the rule that way, or they're not going to enforce it, and that goes against, to me, what the MLS is about, which is about to kind of get the best compilation of data out there.
Right.
And that's just that'd be a sad day.
Well,
I'm again still hoping the market turns in a way where somebody is suggesting to you that we keep it off the market of as many people seeing it. It just seems like, are you fucking out of your mind? No, let everybody see this damn thing, right? I mean, but that I might be just whistling through the graveyard. Who knows?
You are definitely whistling through the graveyard after this. It's done. It's time to move on to the new world. And CMLS is going on right now, or not?
I'm flying out tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it starts on Wednesday. So when you fly out, please be the voice of reason that gets up in the room and go, hey, I don't care what you guys had planned for your panel discussion. That's all irrelevant now. Can we talk about what you're going to do about Compass Anywhere and the new aftermath, right? Because, I think NAR is engaged in its 3-year strat plan involving all kinds of listening from people. Throw all that shit out the fucking window, because it is irrelevant now. The world changed, and you now need to come up with a new something that deals with the fact that there's a new sheriff in town, right? And everything has changed.
The world has not changed. We still have. We'll see what happens here.
All right. So, thanks for listening to Jammer. I guess I'm curious whether you think the world has changed or not. Greg thinks the world hasn't changed. I think the world has changed. Maybe I'm more radical than Greg.
I'm just saying, don't give up. If you're on the other side, don't give up here. This is a setback, yes, maybe, but if you believe in what you believe, keep believing, buddy.
I guess keep on believing, but this is a business, man. This ain't a fucking political, movement. It's a business, and as you know, it's all about recurring retention. It's all about the extra bell. It's all about the whatever. And now, again, as long as it was just Compass, it was easy for everyone to just kind of make this narrative. It's this one greedy company. When it's Anywhere, that not gonna fly. It's just not gonna fly. And when the numbers are the numbers, and every MLS is like conceded and okay, cool, dude, it's a brand new world, and now we got to figure out where we go from here. So, when there, we'd love to hear from you. Just give us your take. Like I always say, I have strong opinions. Weakly held, very weakly held. So
loosely weakly held. Yeah.
So if you give me data or otherwise, I can change my mind. So
obviously I haven't. So please, everybody, help me out here.
Yeah. Greg is a religious fanatic who believes in the Church of MLS. So you need to show him the light. But anyway, thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Ciao, everyone.